Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Jaya Gopi Jaya Vallabha Jaya Giridhari Guru Gopi Jaya Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jaya Vallabha Jaya Giridhari Jaya Giridhari Yashodananda Yashodananda Jaya Kundari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kundari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kundari Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jagannath Swami, Jagannath Swami, Jagannath Swami, Bhavati, Jagannath Swami, Jagannath Swami, Jagannath Swami, Bhavati, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra Mai Sudarshana, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Subhadra Mai Jai Sudarshana, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Subhadra Mai Jai Sudarshana, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavana, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavana, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Swami Srila Prabhupada. Gauranitai ki jai. Hare Krishna devotees. Welcome all the devotees again on the on Seshadripuram Zoom Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today I have been instructed on discussing on the 14 to 18 shlokas of 18th chapter and third canto. So third canto is essentially conversation between Vidva and Maitreya, and we have been discussing this since now. So today we'll be discussing on 15 shloka, 15 to 18. That is part of pastimes of Lord Vara. I'll just start shortly. Am I audible? Okay. No? Okay.
Yes, Mr. Prabhu?
Yeah.
Volume is a little low, Prabhu. Volume is a little low.
Is it? I will try to increase.
Yes,
At 72, I'll make it to almost 100. Is it okay now?
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu.
Okay.
Right, very
Big.
good.
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। Shri Chaitanya Manoਭीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांस्य श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तस्य जीवं साद्वैतं सार्वभूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपरं सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं तस्य हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम श्री गोपाल की जय. I will project the shlokas on the screen. Just give me 2 minutes. Hare Krishna. Okay, so 18th chapter, 3rd canto, 14th shloka. I start reciting the shlokas. Sujanna Matsritaha Shwasan Manyu Prachalendritaha Asadya Tarsaha Daityo Gadayandanadvarim. Word to word meaning. Sujan, giving out. Amarsitaha, being angry. Shwasan, breaths. Manyu, by wrath. Prachalita, agitated. Indriyaha, whose senses. Asadya, attacking. Tarasa, quickly. Daitya, the demon. Gadaya, with his mace. Nahanat, stuck. Harim, Lord Hari. Translation by Silpopa. Hissing indigently, all his senses shaken by wrath, the demon quickly sprang upon the Lord and dealt with him a blow with his powerful mace. 15th shloka. Bhagwanastu gada vegam rishtam ripuro nasrasi avachantita tirasino yogaruda ivantakam. What word meaning? Bhagwan, the Lord. Two, however, Gadavegam, the blow of mace. Vishtrustam, thrown. Ripuna, by the enemy. Urasi, at his breast. Avanchaya, dodged. Tiranshinaha, aside. Yoga Arudaha, an accomplished yogi. Eva, like Antakam, death. Translation. The Lord, however, by moving slightly aside, dodged the violent mace blow aimed at his breast by the enemy, just as accomplished yogi would elude death purport by simple. The example is given here in that the perfect yogi can overcome a death blow, although it is offered by laws of nature. It is useless for a demon to beat a transcendental body of the Lord with a powerful mace, for no one can surpass his prowess. Those who are advanced transcendentalists are free from the laws of nature, and even death blow cannot act on them. Superficially, it may be seen that yogi is attacked by death blow, but by the grace of the Lord, he can overcome many such attacks for the service of Lord. As the Lord exists by his own independent prowess, by the grace of the Lord, the devotee also exists for his service. 16th shloka. Punargadan swamadaya ramayantam bhikshmashaha abhyadhavaduri kruddha sauramba drashtadachanam prashadam. What word meaning? Punaha, again. Gadam means swam him. Adaya having taken. Brahmayantam brandishing. Abhishakshashaha or Bhikshashnaha repeatedly. Abhyadhavat rushed to meet. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Kruddhaha, angry. Sambrabhat, in rage. Dust, beaten. Dachadam, his lip. Translation. The personality of Godhead now exhibited his anger and rushed to meet the demon, who bit his lip in rage. Who bit his lip in rage, took up his mace again and began to repeatedly brandish it about. 17th shloka. Tatasya gadaratim dakshinasam Bhuvi Prabhu. Ajagne satumtam saumya gadaya ovida hanat. Translation, word to word meaning. Tata, then, cha, and gadaya, with his mace. Aratim, the enemy. Aratim, the enemy. Dakshinasyam, on the right. Bhruvi, on the brow. Prabhu, the Lord. Ajagni, struck. Sa, the Lord. To, but. Tam, the mace. Saumya, O gentle Vidura. Gadaya, with his mace. Kovida, expert. Ahanath, he saved himself. Translation, Master Prabhupada. Then with his mace, the Lord struck the enemy on the right of his brow. But seeing the demon was expert in fighting, O gentle Vidura, he protected himself by maneuver of his own mace. 18th shloka. Evam gadabhyam gurvibhyam harishaksho harireva cha jigyesha sonsarabda anyanna abhijagnatu. Word to word meaning. Evam, in his way. Gadabhyam, with their names. Gurvibhyam, huge. Harakshaha, the demon Hiranyaksha. His other name is Haraksha. Hari, Lord Hari. Eva, certainly. Cha, and Jigisaya, with a desire of victory. Samsabrabdu, enrage. Annannam, each other. Abhijagnatu, they stop. Translation. In this way, the demon Haraksha and the Lord, the Supreme Personality of God, struck each other with their huge maces, each enraged and seeking their own victory purport. Haraksha is another name for Hiranyaksha, the demon. Okay, so just a minute. I'll pull out all the shlokas again. Just a minute. So I'm pulling out all the shlokas. Just Hare Krishna. 5 shlokas, although not much purport is given by Prabhupada, but couple of shlokas he has given the purport. We'll discuss that. We'll start the discussion shortly. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Jai Pataka Swaminiti Namine Namo Acharya Padayanitai Kripa Padayane Gaura Katana Padaya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktananda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram. Okay, so Lord Vara's pastimes continues. So currently the scene is fighting between Lord Vara and the Hiranyaksha demon is going on. It's a fierce fight. It is not a ordinary fight what we see nowadays. with all underweights. So basically, it's a heavy fight. Hiranyaksha was not an ordinary demon, first of all. He was, anyway, he was a devotee of Lord, and we know the pastimes. Context is also known. Basically, ki Jai Vijay was cursed by four Kumaras, and they were gatekeepers of the Lord in Vaikuntha planet. So they were not ordinary souls. They were devotees, and just to exhibit his pastimes, the whole incidents happened where four Kumaras cursed Jay Vijay to go to material world. Why? Because they stopped, the Jay Vijay stopped four Kumaras entering into Lord's palace without the permission. So they got angry. So getting four Kumar angry also is a pastime. It is a will of Lord. Then Lord appeared in the scene by his own will, obviously. Then he pacified four Kumaras. They went away. Jai Vijaya went to material world, and pastime starts. So Hiranyaksha takes the birth, and this is that early phase of the creation, material creation. And omens, there are lot of bad omens when Hiranyakashipu got. Hiranyakashipu was the elder one, and demigods got frightened. They went to Brahma. Brahma narrated all this to them, and so this is a story ki why this is happening. So somehow, and Hiranyaksha was so powerful. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that he was almost winning over the demigod. They are highly afraid of them, so they were hiding here and there. And of course, so, and then as a part of that, I mean, in the proud, they are very proud of themselves, the demons. So this is a characteristic of demon. So generally, we see these terminology, demon, rakshasa. It's all similar thing. It's all about pravrutti, consciousness. Pravrutti in the sense, I mean, how they are conscious. Like demons are typically. So there are three types. Like one is demon or rakshasas comes in one category, and other category is devotee, and they are demigods in between. Devotee is a pure soul who are completely surrendered to Lord without any desire for sense gratification or any desire for self gratification, self satisfaction, whatever we call. No, the devotees has a pure desire to serve Lord and no other desire. Demons, absolutely, they have a 100% desire to enjoy by themselves, and they are self-centered. Like they want to enjoy themselves and they don't care for what Lord supremacy. So demons especially. So demons means basically they say that the Lord doesn't exist at all. Or they may say, even though he exists, I am also God. I am also God, you are also God, everybody is God, and everything is for me. So demons are in a very sophisticated way. They doesn't look like very fiercely, or they may not, but their mentality is very different, that they don't accept the supremacy of Lord. They said there is nothing like that. I'm Lord, I'm God. These are the demons. And Rakshas are a similar categories. Typically, I was just reading somewhere. They are also of the same mentality, but they are busy in disturbing others or killing others, or dominating others. And they say even the Lord exists, or I don't care. Like we are the powerful. Like it's a similar thing. Demons, Rakshasa. These are all. So these are the three, and here we are dealing with Hiranyaksha demon, who is highly fearful demon, very very powerful, and he plucked the earth from this orbit of his moving, and then he put it into the casual ocean, Garbhakshay ocean, and then it sunk, and then Lord came to save the earth, and he put it back, and then fighting continued between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha. So this is a scene where uh, Hiranyaksha is trying to challenge Lord, and they are fighting with their mace, like Gada, and very fierce battle is going on there. So, um, so basically, the first shloka says that okay, Hiranyaksha threw the huge, sort of, he threw his mace, or he put his mace to hit Lord on his chest, and Lord is trying to save it very expertly. Anyway, Lord is also exhibiting his pastime as if he's some, sort of human being, or I'll not call human, but it's like he's fighting like ordinary thing. But actually, he's Lord, so he doesn't have to, in fact, fight also. He can just easily kill the Hiranyaksha, but that's not the way. He's exhibiting his pastime. So as a part of that, there is a fierce fight going on. So if you really see there is always I was reading at many places. So the various elaborations. So there is always a fight between Lord and or his devotees against demons. There is always constant fight in material world. Lord is also showing the supremacy, and of course he doesn't have to exhibit it, but as a part of pastime, he is trying to show the supremacy. No, the earth or this material world belongs to me, and demons are anyway they are with that mentality of who are you, the worth, and the demons. I mean, they think all this material world belongs to us. It is meant for our enjoyment. So that is the mentality of demon. So demons have got very clear agenda. They want to deny the authority of God, supremacy of Lord, and they want to prove their supremacy. And this we have been discussing in earlier sessions also. And that happens because demons lot of sinful karmas, and they get mighty power also by their austerities also. Plus they have got karmas also, and then they become so powerful, but they are strong desires and they are jealous of Lord. So all this constitutes together is very fearful scenario for a ordinary man, because they are very powerful, but simultaneously a lot of desires are there, and they are trying to challenge the whole existence of human being. And is it not happening throughout the history of mankind? If you see, this is always happening. There have been demons. There are always demons. There are demigods. There are normal human beings also, devotees also, and Lord also. So this is the way the material world. I mean, it's a beautiful creation by Lord. But of course, ultimately, control exists with Lord. Whatever may be the case. That is why these shlokas are also Prabhupada mentioned in second shloka, like 15th shloka. We'll go to that. Ultimately, control exists with Lord. Whatever may be the apparent, pastimes will be happening. Sometimes he is throwing his mace, sometimes hitting the Lord. A lot of injuries to both, but it is only superficial as far as Lord is concerned. There is no injury. His body is transcendental, so nobody can injure his body. While demon's body is material body, it is going to get destroyed. That's what it happened. Correct. So demon has got very clear agenda on entrusting their desires and exploiting the material nature, exploiting the people around them for their own enjoyment. That's the mentality, and they are very proud of their prowess also. And that continues. Devotee has got a very clear-cut agenda. Devotee want every living entity to get engaged in service of Lord, because he himself, devotee himself, is engaged in service of the Lord perennially, constantly, without any self motives. That is devotee. And his agenda is, and his efforts is always to take everybody into Lord's service and go back to home, back to Godhead. While demon's agenda is very clear, they want to engage everybody in their own service or for their own sense enjoyment. At the most, there may be expanded selfishness, which Prabhupada explains many times. Say, for example, like in recent case, if you take, I mean, we just try to striking to like recently there is a the Supreme Court in America, they banned the abortions. Now there is a lot of, now this is one way good, but there is a lot of protest going on, and they are saying that, oh, you are interesting on, I mean, you are interesting, or you are enforcing your this thing on the freedom, individual freedom. So apparently it may look that, okay, people are trying to, for social cause, means freedom should not be taken away, they should not have inconvenience. So there may be a good cause, looks like, but then it's a very demonic cause. Abortion is sinful, but people are supporting abortion under the name of social agenda, saying that no, freedom should not be taken away from individual. I mean, under the name of freedom. So this sort of thing. So, but mentality is demonic. So sometimes it happens that demonic activities are very clearly visible most, but sometimes it is not, or many times it is not visible. We have to go through Shastric references under the guidance of Guru only will understand. Or if you read Prabhupada books only, will come to know what is a real demonic tendency. Demon doesn't mean he will have two horns and always very mighty body. Demons exist nowadays also, and in fact, we discussed that in some earlier session that demonic tendency exists in most of us. At least I can see that way. Yes, demonic. So there is a pious person also and demonic person also in the same person nowadays. So it's very close. Earlier it used to be different planets, demons and demigods used to live. Now then they came close as the yugas passes from Satya Yuga. So they came close to different say countries and then families, and then in every self individual in Kali Yuga is having this demonic tendency. Of course, there are liberated souls also. They are pure devotees, but I'm just telling general example, right? So demonic is a pravrutti, it's a tendency. We need to understand that. So what is, and essentially what is the bottom of it, at the bottom of it, denying the supremacy of Lord is the demonic tendency. While if everything we do for the agenda of Lord as his service, we gets into category of devotees. Okay, so this is the like Prabhupada explained earlier, there is a constant fight between demons and Lord also, because Lord is also there to protect the devotees. So there is a fight between demons, devotees, because devotees interested in establishing supremacy of Lord. Demons also want to establish their own supremacy, and Lord is there in all this, sometimes directly fighting the way it is the current scene is, or sometimes through devotees, or he empowered devotee to fight. So this is how the fight goes on. It's all about establishing the supremacy on the earth or this planet. So Lord also want to establish his supremacy. He doesn't have to establish the supremacy per se, because everything is coming from him. Why? Yes, he can kill the demons in 1 second. But that is the part of pastime. We have to see that yes, actually we need to understand mind of Lord, or his objective or his purpose of this material world is, which is the people, the soul who will be working for service of Lord or agenda of the Lord will be protected. And the people who are not going to serve the Lord in the sense that they are not going to cooperate the Lord in his own objective are going to get destroyed. That's a history Puranas says again and again. But of course, this has to be seen in a very proper way, because Shastra, there are a lot of apparent confusing things also. A lot of bad things has happened to good people, but all that has to be understood properly. And Bhagavatam explains everything, and the expert purport by Prabhupada makes the thing very clear in the, especially in current context also, right? So in the next shloka, just a minute, I'm just going to next shloka, although you are not able to see that, but I'll just read it. 15th shloka, Bhagwan astu gada vegam vistrutam ripuno rasi. Avachayanta tirastishno yogaruda yuvantakam. So where Prabhupada translates that the Lord, however, by moving slightly aside, dodged the violent way's blow aimed at his breast by the enemy, just as accomplished yogi would elude death. Purport. Now let's read the purport. Prabhupada says here, the example is given here in that the perfect yogi can overcome the death blow, although it is offered by laws of nature. It is useless for demon to beat the transcendental body of the Lord with powerful mace, for no one can surpass his prowess. So what Prabhupada is explaining, elaborating more here is basically those who are advanced transcendental are freed from law of nature. So here example in shloka also is given that they are comparison analogy. Analogy is given here is basically the way yogi surpasses the death. The yogi dodges the death or eludes the death very expertly by his yoga sadhana, or in case of devotee by his devotional service. They surpasses the death. That in the same way, Lord also dodged the attack of demon. So it's very important to understand what exactly it means, because it's very important, analogy. Prabhupada writes, superficially it may be seen that yogi is attacked by their foe, but by the grace of Lord, he can overcome many such attacks for the service of Lord. As the Lord exists by his own independent powers, by the grace of Lord, devotee also exists for his service. So, if you really see, this is a scene where struggle is going on. I mean, battle is going on between Lord and demon. But it's the same thing analogy that it talks about yogis battle with material nature, and we can extend to us also. Every living being in this material is struggling with material nature. Prakriti, of course, Prakriti is very strong. Prakriti can kill us within second, but to be fair, like there is a struggle going on, and sometimes we feel, oh, I have conquered the material world, especially nowadays, because we can easily correlate in this so-called modern science world. We sometimes feel, yes, we have conquered the diseases by medicines, and we produce tons of medicines, and some more disease comes. So apparently, it looks like by medicines we are able to conquer the the disease. But disease is always one step ahead than the medicine. Recent example is COVID, and it's many example. And you take any example first. In fact, you take any example of disease medicine, combination. The medicines what we take, especially the allopathic medicine, because I'll try to dwell on this for 2-3 minutes. So allopathic medicine, if you see, they actually try to reduce the symptoms of the disease, or kill the symptoms, or temporarily subside the symptom. But the real recovery happens through your body mechanism, which is prakriti only. If you really see the modern medicines, fundamentals of this. So, for example, we take painkiller to reduce the pain, but it's not eliminating the pain. It is actually disconnecting the contact between your nervous system, which goes to brain, which senses the pain. So that medicines sort of cuts that contact temporarily of neurons and going to brain, and it doesn't sense that pain. So if we have overcome the pain, no, pains are getting overcome by your body mechanism only over a period of time, and which you don't have control. We don't even understand how body works, but so beautifully it works. We even don't know. It just happen without our knowledge. So we are thinking that we are fighting against the nature, we are winning on the prakriti, but that's not the case. I gave the example of disease. Same is for death. Death to anyway, we are not even conquered, but people keep trying. Oh, we'll avoid the death on one fine day, but that's not happening. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi cannot be avoided, which is offered by nature to us based on our karmas. Prabhupada is very repeatedly mentioning on that we can't fight Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi by our own endeavor. Own means our human endeavor. So currently that tendency is happening, and majority of the people are getting misguided by it's a self misguide or others misguide them. So-called powerful people in the society currently misguide them that yes, some point of time will win over the, but that's not the way. But Vedas gives, and Bhagavatam mentions, Vedas give the real scientific way or proper way of avoiding the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. That is nothing but yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is at the topmost ladder. So it's a direct method, and in this way we avoid Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. And does it mean that devotee will not get death? Of course he will get death, but that is only for this body. After this body, there will not be Janma Mrityu. That is what it means by Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, conquering the Janma by. So devotion, Bhakti Yoga is the topmost, but there are other yogis also. They also conquer the death. Janma Mrityu yogis, Ashtanga yogis, they conquer the death, but it's very indirect method, very laborious method. It's not that perfect. That anyway, that's not the topic here. But topic here is yogis, Vedic scriptures or our Sanatan Dharma. Actually, our whole effort was to avoid Janma, counteract the blows of nature. Prakriti, because there is a constant fight between um, human being or living being, living entity with material nature, and material nature Prakriti works under Lord. So very perfect analogy. Even the shloka mentioned that the way yogi avoids the death or dodges the death by his own yogic sadhana, and of course even by his yogic sadhana also is not ultimate. It's ultimately Lord's favor only has to come. So Prabhupada writes here, कि by Lord's mercy, devotees or yogis ultimately dodges the death. So Lord's mercy is very equally important. Bhakti yoga is directly asking for the mercy, or is while others are indirect method. That's a different thing. So this analogy we need to understand and learn from this shloka, that if we have to really fight with Prakriti, we cannot fight by our own endeavor. We have to take help of Lord, and we can win over the Prakriti. Actually, we are meant for winning on the Prakriti, because soul is our. I mean, it's like we are a marginal energy of the mind. So we are superior than the material nature. But currently we are not, because we have forgotten our own nature. But with the help of Lord, by Lord's mercy, we can actually win over the Prakriti. That is also with the help of Lord or mercy of Lord. So that is the way we have to take it. But this is the only way, by asking for the mercy of Lord only we can win over it. Okay, so this is a analogy we need to see. While Prabhupada mentions further, I just read again. As the Lord exists by his own independent power, by the grace of Lord, devotee also exists in his service. So basically, devotee's motivation is to continue doing his service, and he is fully attached to Lord's service. Lord makes sure by his mercy, devotees also continue to exist. He is not really affected by the material nature's blows. While Hiranyaksha, like demons, the mentality or the consciousness is like denying the supremacy of Lord and self-centered consciousness, which ultimately get destroyed. That is the analogy this shloka is trying to bring, and Prabhupada also explains. With demonic mentality or with the mentality of lording over the material nature, we cannot survive or we cannot live, because it's very powerful material nature. It all works under Lord's supervision. So there is no point in fighting against supremacy of Lord. If with the demonic mentality, it is better we surrender to Lord, and by devotion and win over the material nature. And that is our natural constitutional position also. So whole Bhagavatam, you see all those stories, devotees are always winning the battle. Devotees are always favored by Lord, and the demons are destroyed. So numerous examples in Bhagavatam. The the idea here is Lord is trying to convey through his scriptures that basically it's all about we surrendering to Lord and accepting the supremacy of Lord, and that itself is the start of our proper existence, or proper happy existence. So this is the way we have to see that. So other next two shlokas are basically just it's describing the fight, and nothing much on purpose side. So, but then I think this is what I wanted to share today. Although there are 5 shlokas, but very short story. It's a description and answer, but I think this is what I thought I will discuss, and that's all from my side. Today, I personally need to leave a little bit early, so I have requested Prabhuji, Vidura Prabhuji, to further take on the question answers, and he accepted gracefully. Thanks, Prabhuji, for that. So, but quickly, if some comments, questions are there, we can continue. And I have to log off. Sorry for that, but Prabhuji also will be there to continue in case there is something else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Nice class. You brought out the essence of these 4 verses. I thought I will give a few practical examples of what Prabhupada is talking. See, basically, the purport is there only for one verse. So, it's better we just focus only on that one verse in terms of, because Prabhupada has deemed fit to write about that. So, I will want to add a few on those. That verse, Prabhu was also elaborating very nicely that, a yogi can dodge death. And also the mechanism of how he is able to do that. Prabhu, you can feel free to whenever you
Yeah,
want.
Prabhu. I just wanted to say that I'm just logging off now.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Sorry, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So the point is the practical examples that we have seen are, we can see from the point of bhakta as well as even a yogi. If you really see, if you look at it from a basic, simple mechanical yoga point of view, we have always seen, Prabhu talked about the point of allopathy not able to solve the problems. But even today, practically, if you see, we hear of people saying, you do this yoga, that disease will get, you can do it better. You can actually manage the disease better. I've heard it many examples. Particularly, there are some diseases where you really don't have a cure in allopathy, or for that matter, in other medications also. They say you do yoga and then you will be better off. A lot of breathing problems that we have, people in allopathy, they give you some kind of a, what do you call, which you just put on the nose, and then it's kind of which goes and expands the tubes inside, and therefore the air is able to go. But this is not a permanent solution. So every time they have to use that, I don't know, it's kind of an inhaler or something, which goes and expands the pipes, and then there is a little bit more air which could go in. But the same thing can be achieved by performing pranayama exercises. Those are yoga related ones. Or there are also certain diseases like arthritis and all. People say, there's no medication in allopathy, and even in other medications, not many people get any kind of a cure. Other types of medications, sometimes Ayurvedic or whatever. But then they say if you perform yoga, then there is a lot of relief to the person, and sometimes you can even cure those diseases. So this is at a very simple practical level of what you and I can practically practice. So this is there. This yoga can help. So it's in a way defying death or defying the diseases, right? You can perform this kind of yogic exercises to defy death. Take it a little more advanced. There are people who are very expert in performing this yoga, more of a mechanical kind of a yoga, or those who are in an impersonal state also. You can see some higher practitioners are able to cure there have been examples of, I do not know how far it is true, but a lot of people do have had some experiences with these kind of yogis. They have a major disease and they are not able to survive. They go to these kind of so-called spiritual gurus who are basically yogis, and they are able to help. It could be even some kind of some tumors and stuff like that. Then these yogis are able to make these people get out of that. Basically, the deceased person may not be at an expert level, but the other person who they approached is very powerful, that he is able to remove such things which even medications cannot help. Such things are also there. And there is also these examples of these practitioners are actually can demonstrate that I am not controlled by, in one sense, law of nature. If you see Adi Shankaracharya, there was this is history, right? Adi Shankaracharya is not some story, it is a history. So he had a situation where he was having a philosophical debate with the king, and he was winning that debate hands down, and then the queen somehow could not stand her husband defeated, and then she says, can I put some questions to this to Adi Shankara to support her husband? And then he says, yes, you can fight on his behalf. And then she asks some questions about intricate relationship between man and women. And then Adi Shankaracharya was bold. Like, no, it's not with the king, it's one other person whom he was fighting with, I think. So the Adi Shankara could not answer that because he practically was a brahmachari. He didn't have that understanding of the women and those kind of stuff. So then he asked for some time. Let me get some time. Give me some time. I will come back with an answer. And then the other party agreed. And then Adi Shankaracharya came back, and then he was thinking, now how do I solve this? How do I get an answer to this question? So then at that point in time, there is one king somewhere who died. And Adi Shankara then immediately understood this through his yogic power. And then he immediately told his disciples, like, I am going to be going into a yogic trance. Preserve my body. Don't allow it to be destroyed. You preserve my body. I will be in a trance kind of a thing. So he actually left the body and went into the king's body. And then that king who was supposed to have died immediately wakes up. And then he is able to understand, like being in that king's body, who's basically a Grahastha, who has this wife, and maybe whatever interaction, he is able to understand that experience of what it is to be a Grahastha or whatever. He gains that knowledge, and in the meantime, some people understand that Adi Shankara is actually there are enemies for everyone, right? They understand that now Adi Shankara is not in this body, and then they immediately come there, and then they say, okay, now he's dead. Now you need to cremate that body, and they are trying to take Adi Shankara's body to cremate it. And Adi Shankara understands this being in the other body. He immediately defies death by coming back into this body and then waking up. So these are all like, the yogic way of doing, nothing to do with the devotion in one sense, but then you can derive these powers. But from a devotee perspective, Prabhu also talked about it, like, Prabhupada clearly writes, it is done by the power of the Lord, not by our own powers beyond a point, because nobody can defy death beyond a point. But there are very good examples of these things. There is Ambarish Maharaj, right, where Ambarish Maharaj, with that, I forget the name of the Muni, that he, because of this Ekadasi, he had called him, and then, he's supposed to, on the next day, he is supposed to, on Dwadasi, he is supposed to feed him, and then only because he's guest, he has to feed him, and then Ambarish Maharaj should accept the prasadam. That is the Dwadashi fast breaking. But this Muni is taking more time to come back, and the time is going to pass, that, the fast breaking time is going to pass. So Ambarish Maharaj, an expert in all Vedic knowledge and all that, but still he consults its ministers and other Vedic scholars, and they say, okay, if you take, they generally fast fully, right? Not like us, we take non-grained stuff and all that. So if you are doing like that, then even breaking it with water is accepted as breaking the fast on a Parayan, that means on the day of Dwadasi. So based on that advice, he takes one drop of water. This Muni comes to know of it in his his powers of yoga. Even he is taking bath there, but he understood that Ambarish Maharaj had actually done that. And then he comes there with anger and said, you have actually ill-treated me. You have not waited for me to break the fast, and you have individually done this. And therefore he creates a kind of demon with his yogic power, and then unleashes it on Ambarish Maharaj to destroy him. So here, the power of Bhakti Yoga, if you really see, Ambarish Maharaj is not a yogi in that sense. He's a Bhakti Yogi, but not a mechanical yogi. So he is simply holding his hands and praying to the Lord, oh my Lord, I have not done anything wrong, but then, this is the Muni's anger is coming to me in the form of this demon. Do what you want to do. Then he simply surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Lord sends his Sudarshan Chakra. So then with that, the Sudarshan Chakra starts chasing the demon. I think and the Muni himself, and Muni keeps running all over the place, and he goes to all the demigods one by one, and everybody says, I can't do this is Sudarshan Chakra, no, I can't help you, go to Lord Brahma, you go to Lord Shiva, like that. He's pushed to one authority to another authority. Everywhere they go, it said, no, we can't do anything because it is Vishnu's weapon, and we can't neutralize it. Finally, it goes, he runs to Lord Vishnu, And Vishnu says, see, I have already released it. I don't have the power to take it back. You go and surrender to that devotee of mine. If he wishes, then Sudarshana may withdraw, will withdraw, So he runs back and falls down at the lotus feet of the devotee. And then the devotee says, what wrong you have done? What is there for me to forgive you? No. You just at least say I have forgiven you. Otherwise, this chakra will kill me. And then he accepts that, and then the Muni is saved. So the point here is devotees do not exhibit these yogic powers, but their powers are basically that of the Lord. The Lord deploys it and makes it look like it is on the devotees. It's the devotees' power. It has happened. Prabhupada also many a times, or even spiritual masters, our spiritual masters, they say like there are sometimes certain things happen, which is looking like out of the world, not ordinary stuff. But Prabhupada has very clearly explained, it is not that I have these powers, it is just that Krishna makes it look like these powers are emanating from me. That is something like that Prabhupada has personally also said, that I am not someone who is a yogic practitioner who is deriving these powers. I am not interested in doing that, neither am I having the time to do all these things. In their opinion, it's a waste of time. But the Lord manifests such powers on the body of this devotee. That's what has been written in this thing. Amazing things have happened. Prabhupada has demonstrated many a times these things. But it's not like, these powers are something which he is cultivated over a period of time, but it is exhibition of those powers on his body by the Lord himself. Like this, many such things have happened. And there is this case of, in our Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see our Namacharya Haridas Thakur. So he will be taken to, I think, 22 marketplaces to be beaten. There used to be, I will not get into this background, but because of enmity of his community and then of our community means the so-called Hindus, that how can this Muslim man be a Hindu preacher and all of that, and because of and their own community people also saying, how can you convert and go and take up Hinduism, this kind of all jealousy and anger and hatred. They were actually trying to fabricate him to be a kind of an evil in the society. So then it was the king or the governor, whoever, they had given the punishment that he be beaten with a whip in 22 marketplaces. Basically, the idea is to kill him, like lynch him. In today's day, we say, right, you lynch him to death or whatever. People are lynched like that. So he's to be lynched to death. So there he is actually going there, and he's taken to 22 marketplaces, and there are many people surrounding him and beating him with whatever, the thing. And it is not humanly possible to survive. That means you are the Ramacharya Haridas Thakur is supposed to die with such beatings. But he never exhibited any symptoms of pain or death, anything. He was completely in composed manner, and he was getting beating left, right and center. To an extent that these fellows, after beating him in 22 places, they are pleading to him, oh, please die, no. If you don't die, we will be killed by the king because we have not been able to kill you. So he says, oh, is this what you want? Okay, I will die, So he will immediately go into a trance, and then the body will, it will be like, he's died. And then they take that body to the king and show him, okay, no, here he's died. And then they say, okay, you throw it into the river. And then he's thrown into the river, and then he's in the river, the body is floating, and then some devotees find it out and then pull the body over to the land, and then they chant Hare Krishna, and then he wakes up. So you just imagine, this is not ordinary survival, right? It is like, it's not humanly possible, but by the mercy of the Lord, a yoga practitioner, sometimes it could be the mechanical yoga, or sometimes, or mostly, or in other times, like what is more relevant to us as bhakti yogis. As long as we are fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, then the Lord can perform. Not that we have an intent to do such magic. We don't want to do such thing, because we understand at the end of the day, the idea is not to keep surviving. The idea is to go back to Godhead. But somehow it happens that, the Lord can manifest some of these powers in this. And so that has been mentioned here in this verse. So I will conclude here. It is 8:58. If there are any other comments, welcome. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if nothing, thank you all devotees for making time to join this session of Srimad Bhagavatam of ISKCON Seshadripuram. Thank you all. We will meet again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Danda Pranam. Jai, Jai.
Hare Krishna. Anadi Prabhu, we can conclude. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.